G'day folks. Well, I've stripped the Volkswagen engine down partially, drained the oil, and about ready to drop the sump and strip the head off and probably even remove the crankshaft. It's going to be a fairly quick autopsy. I just want to get the thing out and scrapped, but I'm curious as to see how bad it is. I mean, it was rod knocking and had a cracked head before I got it, and yeah, as you saw in some of the previous videos where I was cranking it with a power drill, I ran it without coolant all the time, and I even ran it without oil on a couple of the high speed runs and seized it up at a couple of points. So let's see how horrible it is. I've already cracked the head studs free. They were all very tight. None of them had worked loose or softened or anything like that. Compression figures are still on there. 110, 80, I think that one's gone. That was 120. Can't quite tell what that was, but that was the dead pot there. That's probably number 3 if you're counting from the back, or number 2 from the front. But that was the pot that with the crack through the head. That was always a problem. Never worked properly. Fuel pump's still got a bit in it. Very stale, nasty fuel. It's everywhere now. That's alright. The whole thing was covered in degreaser before. Better out than in. Okay, that was a bit much. It's on top of the table too. Yuck, it smells nasty. It's old, regular fuel. It's not the special stuff that I was running in one of the videos. Anyway, I'll get the air gun out and evaporate all that, and we'll go from there. I might even take that pump off. It does seem to keep working, but not that it's any use. There's virtually nothing on this engine that's worth saving. Grindy old water pump. I think that's what cooked it. The engine's been cooked, and probably a failed water pump seal or something did it. Sounds like it's got rocks inside it. Only thing I'm keeping is the carburetor. So yeah, let's strip this thing down. Okay, well, the oil pan's off, and as to be expected, there's an awful lot of sludge in there. As to be expected with an engine that was never serviced properly. It's almost like glue. That's horrible. At least it's stuck together and stayed in the pan instead of circulating. Yeah, it's like gelatin. I'm going to have to clean all that out. Send it into the drain pan and off to the waste oil depot. That's really nasty. The oil pickup's a mess. Yeah. It's all like jelly. Oil pickup's just been sitting in jelly. Anyway, let's turn this thing over, or at least I'll probably stand it on the flywheel and strip it down that way. Alright, well, the inlet manifold gasket was compromised around the dud cylinder, but it also doesn't explain why there's so much engine oil in there. Of course, well, I know what the explanation is. There's a giant crack through the head. You can almost see it through here. There's a spot. It's down there. The other cylinders don't have it, but yeah, who knows. This thing is one neglected engine, and abused by me. Running it without oil or coolant and everything like that. Well, the head studs are loose. I might as well knock the head off and then put it on its end, drop it onto the flywheel and undo the bottom end. The camshaft cleaned itself up a bit. So there's rust pitting in the cam lobes, but they've cleaned themselves off with all that running. Same with the valve buckets and everything like that. They seem to have freed themselves up. It did come half good, but because of the dud cylinder, it wasn't going to do much more. Certainly not worth rebuilding. No way. Not for a old Volkswagen Passat come Golf engine. No matter how old they are, they're still everywhere, readily available. Okay, well, the head's off and it's interesting. It looks like they've reworked that cylinder. You can see where they've cut back through the head to reseat that valve, and it's recessed in the head pretty far too. That's actually the dud cylinder, which is kind of interesting. The head gasket itself is still attached to the head, actually. Very attached. Yeah, it's blown there. That's a blown point, but it's not where I thought it would be. Yeah, those ones there are fine. The dud cylinder's obviously cracked though, it's having serious issues there. A lot of wear in the bores. Scoring. Yeah, usual cooked engine stuff. Especially that one there. I'll get the pistons out and have a look. I see some honing marks in it, like the engine's been apart before, obviously because they've repaired that valve or replaced it. But yeah, something horrible's happened to it, and it's pretty much all operator error. The guy who owned it never serviced it at all and just ran it into the ground. Alright, we're getting into the bottom end. This is the bad cylinder. This was the worst of the lot. You can see a light bit of scoring from running it dry of oil, that sort of thing. Probably happened after the engine arrived here. But the rings are alright, they're not stuck, they're not excessively worn. So it's definitely a head issue that was leaking. Certainly gotten hot, which I pretty much did myself, and also the previous owner would have, so it's well cooked, but it's not completely failed. So I'm going to go further into this and just see what's going on. I'm not going to take the mains off. I've got to try and strip the whole block down if I do that. I'd rather leave it as one piece and just hoist it onto the trailer as it is. But I'm going to knock all the pistons out and just see what they look like. That's about as far as we're going with this one. It's not a 100% tear down. I just want to get the thing out of here, but I'm curious as to what the big ends and the pistons look like. Well, the damage seems to get worse from the front of the engine to the back. That's the rearmost cylinder, that's the frontmost cylinder, and you can see that's the only one that's down to copper. As for the actual knocking, I'm guessing either the mains are out or the maybe the front ones was what was knocking, but either way, this engine's trashed. I'm not going to bother pulling the whole front of the engine apart and all that stuff just to get the mains apart, but yeah, I could take the main bearing caps off. I'll see if I've got a socket and can rattle them off, but apart from that, I'm not taking the crankshaft out. I'm just going to throw a chain through the top cylinder and hoist it straight onto the trailer as scrap metal. It's not worth the trouble. So I'll see if I can get some of the mains off. If not, this will be the end of it. Alright, well the mains are pretty much the same story. Heavy scoring, other issues. That's the centre main with its own inbuilt thrust bearings. That's the one of the middle ones. I can't get the front and rear main bearings off without removing the plates. Just can't get the socket past it. There's no clearance. But these are the middle three, and yeah, it's the usual story. Don't know where the knocking was coming from. It could be a wrist pin issue, one of the gudgeon pins or wrist pins, or it could have just been one of the big end bearings out of tolerance, cooked, smashed, loose. None of the bolts were loose, none of the nuts were loose, but yeah, wasn't happy. Anyway, this engine's scrapped now. I'm going to throw all the loose bits in the bin and haul this outside. When I get the chance, I'll strip the Daewoo engine down as well, do a full autopsy, and hoist them both onto the trailer using this crane. I've just got to move the steel table out, wheel the trailer in with the engine blocks hanging off the hoist and drop them on there. The old thermostat still in there. Probably hasn't been replaced in many years. Very old. So yeah, there you go. And scrap block. Thanks for watching.